party for you. Only through this party for you, for you, for you. Hold on. Sorry, I'm listening to Party for You by Charlie XCX. Do this party for you. No one told me that I've been listening to Charlie XCX basically my whole life. I had no idea her discography was so vast. I was like, I was under the impression that I'd only ever listened to bRAT and then like maybe a few random songs here and there. I genuinely didn't realize how many hits she had and over such a long period. Breakup, Boys. I guess it makes sense. She's 32, so she's been making music for a long time. That's so inspiring. That's so inspiring as someone who's approaching her 30s rapidly. Every day. I turned 29 this week. Celebrated with family. She is so beautiful. Like no one rocks the quasi unibrow quite like Charlie XCX. Her album, okay, how do I say this? I think bRAT album is both extremely popular and yet underrated. Hear me out. A lot of people like bRAT. Lots of people love bRAT. Listen to bRAT all the time. It was a summer sensation. The remix album, I don't know if I've talked about this here. I definitely talked about it on stream. The remix is a too crude a word. It's like a full fleet of new songs with a similar melody, but totally different and featuring, voices from other artists. Incredible. I think it's so good. But I think bRAT, to a lot of people, has just been like subjugated to pop, like dispensable pop music. It is not. It is not. Especially, I would argue, honestly, that bRAT, what is the actual album called? bRAT, but it's completely different, but also still bRAT. I definitely talked about this on stream. Charlie's lyrics are so straightforward. And it's not in an unsophisticated way. It's like in a very honest way. Very honest way. Genuine. And it has like the melodies have this ethereal quality, but it's still like bumping club music. And I am not like, I don't listen to club music, but I eat bRAT up all summer long. I'm pretty sure it was my top album of this year or last year. Yeah, last year. Sorry, my camera is so bright. To address the giant elephant in the room, yes, I did dye my hair one shade darker than I have previously. Actually, that's doing a disservice to my stylist. She mixed in violet to my normal color, so I've got kind of this black cherry thing going on, which is trending, apparently. So, go figure. Go figure. I love being with the trends. I feel like there was a time that I really felt like I would have been disappointed at such a thing. And I think that is a mark of immaturity. Now, as I'm older, trendiness, there's like a consumerist, conformistism to it. But then there's also just like girlhood, Like I like doing what the girls are doing. I don't want to be not like other girls. That's ridiculous. I am other girls. I am like other girls. I love girls. All right, anyway. I texted the song to Joshua, Party for You, because I was sure he'd never heard it before. And I said, this song is really Gatsby core if you think about it. It's like modern day Gatsbyism. I only threw this party for you. Like, let me pull up the lyrics. I only threw this party for you. I was hoping you would come through. Watch me party on you. 1,000 pink balloons, DJ with your favorite tunes, birthday cake in August, but you were born the 19th of June. Champagne pouring in your mouth, calling your friends from out of town. Got a big party with the purple pills. And I was waiting for you by the window. That's where she just ripped those lyrics straight from The Great Gatsby. Plagiarism. You should read that. If you've never read The Great Gatsby, it's a short little book. It's like 130 pages, something like that. You could read it in a day or two or on like a rainy afternoon. great. It's like yearning. Start it for the yearning, read it for the devoted love, and come away from it with a unique and reflective attitude toward the future and the past, especially the past, and the permanence of decisions. Party on you, party on you, party on. Okay, guys. Okay, we got a lot on the agenda. Well, not a lot. A lot, but it's only really 2 subjects. I am assuming you did your homework and you started Severance. It's been a week. My guess is if you started it, you're probably up to date. I hope you're loving it. I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about the last 2 episodes. I personally don't have a problem with the pacing. I know there are a lot of unanswered questions, like we still don't really know what Lumen is doing. We don't know if spoilers. We don't know like what a lot of the characters are doing outside of their innie life. We had the momentum of of Mark starting the reintegration process. Then we went to the snow episode and like I was just waiting the whole time, waiting for some kind of reveal. And I feel a little bit like just like edging us. I personally don't mind it. And I feel like my perspective might be a little bit skewed because we binged the first season. And then the second season, obviously, we've been watching as the episodes have come out. So yes, obviously it feels slower because there's a week between each episode. But personally, I'm not going to judge it until... I'm going to just wait until the season is over. Because we're in 10 episodes. We're halfway through. I'm very curious what questions they will answer. Like, what is... what is it? Cold Harbor. There are so many theories about what Cold Harbor is. Does it have something to do with his wife? I don't think so. I think the most popular theory is that this is some kind of like attempt to transfer consciousness or to create consciousness with like numbers or algorithmic, like but that doesn't necessarily explain the data extraction. I don't know. Joshua is slightly annoyed at the last 2 episodes because it doesn't feel like the plot is moving forward. And he did use the word filler. I guess I enjoyed them too much to call them filler. Because I feel like we're not going to really know what's filler and what's not until the season ends. Because in season 1, this would be my example. In season 1, we spent so much time with Miss Casey. And she was kind of like interesting, but she was kind of like annoying when she was hovering over Helly, and she just seemed like kind of this weird alien entity, kind of mean. Like you could technically argue that some of those experiences were filler, or at very least you could say that whole, like the existence of Miss Casey did not really matter to the audience until we found out who she was. And then it wasn't just that she is Mark Scout's wife and the fact that she's alive. It opened this huge can of worms. Like, what the heck is she doing at Lumen? Why is she only at Lumen? And like Joshua thinks she's some kind of plant in Mark's life. Because it seems like this is like one run-on sentence. I swear I went to college. Usually I have chat to interrupt me, and now you're kind of just beholden to my jibber jabber, so you just have to deal with it. It seems strange that she doesn't exist outside of Lumen, and it almost seems really convenient that she left Mark's life in death, and that is what caused him to choose to be severed. And all of the Lumen like data refinement seems to revolve around Mark S. and Mark S's completion of Cold Harbor. So why is Mark so important? It almost feels like a Truman Show experiment. It seems like everyone else is kind of expendable, especially aside from Helly, obviously, but because she's the face of Lumen. But the other characters all just seem to be like expendable. How can we create this environment so that Mark S finishes Cold Harbor? So what the heck is Cold Harbor? I feel like we have to find out what that is. And I think when we do, I personally think, okay, call me pretentious. I don't care. I think that people who are saying that all these episodes are filler are going to eat their words, because I think that the payoff is going to be so good at the end or in the coming episodes of season 2, that all of these things that maybe details we didn't really notice or didn't take seriously at the time are going to matter. Okay? You can check me. You can check me on that. I have faith. I guess it could also be because I'm coming off of reading The Way of Kings, which was also kind of laborious and slow. And then it was just bam, bam, action, emotional payoff at the end. I don't know. I guess we'll see. I hope you did start the Stormlight archive, by the way. If you felt intrigued, I don't remember where I was. I talked about mostly Way of Kings last episode, but look at this. This bar, I'm just doxing myself. I'm not. This purple bar at the top, that's my weekly goal. It's Tuesday at the time of filming this. It's Tuesday. And my goal, this is like, well, I guess I did this kind of weird. My goal is 60. But like, I must hit 52 to have done 10% per week. I think that's how I laid it out. Oh no, this is more than 10. This is 1, 2, 5, 15. This is, oh wow, wait a minute. This is 22%. Was that my goal last week? I read 25% to 43%. Yeah, no, that's 22%. Hold on. Because I've been saying to myself, I want to read 10% a week. Girl, that's 22%. Okay, all right. I was like, okay, I need to read at least 2% a week or day, 3% ideally, and that way I can read 10% a week. Girl, 2% a day, that's 14%. Okay, well, anyway, I'm halfway through Words of Radiance, and it is just nonstop delight. Dude. Shallan, she's in there now. She's in there. She's doing her best. She's doing more than her best. She's meeting Adolin. Although, at this point in the story, I feel like she's going to end up with Kaladin. Because okay, if you've read Words of Radiance, this will mean something to you. I just got to the part where Adolin and Shallan have their first, like, date, essentially. And she asks him about, she's trying to woo him, right? And she's trying to woo him, but also trying to be herself. She asks him, she's like, okay, how can I get a man to like me? I know, I'll get him to talk about himself. That's what Yasta told her to do. A man will have a high impression of you if he can talk about himself. So she does that, but then she ends up asking, and Adolin is a warrior. He's a high prince. Asks him, what happens when you have to poop on the battlefield? What about when you have to poop? And he's like, I've never been asked that. It's not really normally dinner conversation, or that's not, how did he word it? That's not great for conversation or something like that. And she was like, on the contrary, it's perfect for conversation. I can read all about this, the war strategies. I can read about the specifics of battle in books, but I know they don't leave in the nitty gritty details. She's like, I want to know what happens when you have to poop. And he's like, well, and he explains that when you're in battle, you have like, for every 5 minutes on, you have like 5 minutes where you're not doing something. That's like how the Shattered Plane plateau runs work. And he's like, well, frankly, I have to get help because you can't really, someone has to like remove the armor. And he also said, like, you can't really wipe yourself. He's like, you can't, I can't believe I'm saying this. You can't really wipe yourself. I was listening to it on the way to my hair appointment today. I was dying. It was so funny. And he ends up like opening up to her after that and being much more honest. And I think Adolin is interesting. I think he's a good kid, but he's just kind of misguided and a little bit cocky. I think he has a lot to learn. But looking at the conversation overall, Shallan did an excellent job of wooing him, and, you know, it made sense for her to do so. But I wouldn't say that he necessarily wooed her, aside from just being very handsome. That's like pretty much all she said. But he could not keep up with her wit at all. And her jokes went literally right over his head. So I feel like she's going to be a good girl. She's going to court Adolin like she should. But her and Kaladin's first meeting as Shallan Kaladin was so like fiery and so combatant. And I'm just like, I see you. I see you. I know what you're doing, Brandon Sanderson. You're setting up this tension to give us a romantic payoff because they're equally matched. I feel like I've been waiting. I've been working 1,500 pages for this. And to be fair, the romance in Way of Kings was also great, and I really loved it. But listen, I know these people. Shallan, Kaladin, Adolin. I've spent hours and hours and hours of my life with them. I'm ready. I'm ready for the conflict. I feel like Adolin is gonna like Shallan and like in a, I don't know, because she's amazing, okay? She's amazing. She is incredible. But I just feel like he is not going to bring out the best in her, or he's maybe not going to see the best in her. But Kaladin will. Especially since, you know, they're both kind of in the same. They've got similar struggles. I can't wait. Okay, all right. Yeah, I'm probably going to have finished it by next week, so we can talk about it then. Sick. Okay, I have 20 minutes in and I haven't talked about anything that I want to talk about. While we're on media, I recently rewatched Tangled. And by recently, I mean yesterday morning. I had it on my second monitor while I was doing like busy work. I had a very different experience with it than I had when I was a tween. For context, I loved Tangled. And I watched it, I think 5 times in the theater. And I didn't have money for that. I don't know actually where I got it. Maybe allowance? I did work in the snack shop at my school. So maybe that's how I got the money. To be fair though, matinee showings were like $6 back then. So maybe that's how. Anyway, love it. But something that always bothered me when I watched it was I could not understand how Rapunzel could not see how awful Mother Gothel was. And you could definitely like write it off as, you know, it's all she's ever known. So her innocence is going to kind of lead her in that direction. And watching Mother Gothel and how she speaks to Rapunzel, and I'll get into the details, the specifics, and like the lines, because I have a page of notes here that I wrote while I was reading or watching. I realized the reason I'm having such a hard time computing, first of all, why would Mother Gothel treat her that way? You know, even if she is just, it's really all about the hair for her, that's still effectively your daughter, and you are still her primary caretaker. And how would you not form some kind of love, any sort of unselfish love toward her? Not even if the selfish love takes precedent, wouldn't there be some sort of maternal bond created with, to have compassion on her in some way? It was so confusing to watch that, because, praise God, my mother is one of the most like humble, sacrificial people I've ever known. Never participated in any sort of like body shaming, or never like quashed our interests, never made us feel small. In fact, did quite the opposite, and was always willing and interested in like involving herself in what we were into. Like she watched K-dramas with us, and not just in like it was genuine. Like I got super into like the K-wave. I got sucked into K-pop and K-drama and stuff. I don't want to talk about it. It was a strange time for me. And I watched a lot of K-dramas, and she just like offered to watch them with me. And she got into them, like genuinely into them. Not in like, oh yeah, I'll do it for you. My daughter. She, as far as I know, she is very good at pretending. She genuinely enjoyed them. And I think I learned a lot from witnessing that, because I think that's part of the way, one of the ways that I show love to people is by genuinely getting invested in what they're into, and giving hobbies that my loved ones or my friends are into a genuine try, and not in a humoring way. I think that's the difference. Not in a humoring way. In like I like you, and I want to do the things that you're into, and if you like it, odds are I will like it too in some way. So my mom is a great example of that. It was so, Mother Gothel's behavior toward Rapunzel seemed so outlandish to me and so villainous, because I could never imagine my mom doing something like that. And when I was a child, I chalked that up to, well, because my mom is my real mother, you know. She would never treat me like that because she is my actual mother, not some, you know, she didn't take me captive. But when I watched it as an adult, I had a realization that probably lots of people have realized before me, because, well, let me just say it. Mother Gothel and the way that she treats Rapunzel is a perfectly disguised but straightforward and honest depiction of maternal abuse. And it's not actually outlandish. Let me look up. Actually, I meant to do this before, but I wanted to see if there's like a chart I could look at of maternal abuse examples, or like types. Neglect, emotional abuse, physical. Oh, okay, wait. Let me be a bit more specific. Emotional abuse. Let me just look up emotional abuse. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Emotional abuse categories: verbal abuse, screaming or swearing or insulting you; isolation; financial abuse, controlling or taking money or your belongings; social abuse, trying to make people think badly of you, embarrassing you, or blaming you in public, making you feel scared or threatened; check. Bullying, deliberately doing or saying things to hurt you; and gaslighting, lying in order to make you doubt your own thoughts. Mother Gothel went down the line and did all of those things. Like, The first time I really noticed it was when, let me see. The way that they would fight when Rapunzel tried to plead with her, please let me go see the lights. And they fight for the first time, and Mother Gothel says, I hate leaving after a fight, especially when I've done absolutely nothing wrong. And then they get into another match, and she shouts, says some horrible things to Rapunzel, and then says, great, now I'm the bad guy. Girl, you were the bad guy the whole time. But the only reason she said that is to make Rapunzel feel bad. Like, you made me the bad guy. And Mother Gothel restricts love to when absolute obedience is shown. She only is kind and sweet and tender to Rapunzel when there is no sign of resistance or personhood shown in Rapunzel. I also noticed that Rapunzel had an extremely emotional reaction to disobeying her mother, despite evidence that she was being unfair and dishonest. And in that time frame, Rapunzel cannot tell when she's being tricked by Flynn Rider. When Flynn tries to coerce her into, oh yeah, your mother would be crushed by this, so you should just go back and give me the crown. Had no other context or nothing to compare him to other than her mother, and took him at his word. And it occurred to me how vulnerable she was out in the real world, and what makes her such actually an amazing protagonist. When she gets to the tavern, with the ruffians, it's because it's all she knows. She's so open-minded. And I wrote she's open-minded to the world and to people. That is amazing, actually. After being told all her life that the world outside is a dangerous, scary place, that you can't trust anyone, that she, in spite of that upbringing, that brainwashing, the gaslighting, she chooses to believe the best in people. Amazing. Well, a very princess quality. And then when Gothel catches up to her and tries to convince her to, she plants the seed of doubt in Flynn, he's only with you because he wants the crown, right? And she says, Gothel exploits her naivety to reduce her thoughts down to foolishness, which is verbal abuse and gaslighting, and says he could never love you. Why? Don't you love her? Isn't she a lovable person? She's restricting as only I can love you. But my love for her is her love for Rapunzel is toxic. She concocts a whole scheme just to get her back in her clutches. That's social abuse. And I wrote here, real life moms can sometimes live vicariously and resent their daughters for their youth and beauty. Entangled, Mother Gothel literally lives through Rapunzel. I can imagine what it must have felt like. Well, actually, I can't imagine. Not really. I guess I could try. But this made me think what it must have been like to be a girl, to go see the movie Tangled, and to see and hear how Mother Gothel talks to Rapunzel, be sitting in the theater and thinking, my mom talks to me like that. My mom treats me like that. This movie must have been so meaningful to so many people. To so many girls whose mothers were cruel to them, who were jealous of them and resentful, yet protective and territorial. I hope that this movie served as a introduction or hey, how your mother treats you is actually not okay. The closest person to your mom in this movie is the villain. I haven't looked because I wanted to just go into this podcast with my own thoughts, but I do want to look after this to just see if there's any testimonies from people saying that Tangled was like something that helped them realize that their moms were abusing them. And it was crazy after the truth was revealed that she was the one who stole Rapunzel. There was absolutely no love left between Rapunzel and Gothel. And I just it was a very informative experience watching it again, and it made me grateful for people who write stories like this and undoubtedly are doing it on purpose, either because they have personally experienced abuse, parental abuse, or want to care for people who have. And I think that the movie took on a whole new life this time around. And I just wrote down here because I loved it, when Flynn and Rapunzel are on the boat. She's, concerned that, what if the lanterns aren't everything I thought they would be? Well, what if they are? And he says, well, that's the best part. You get to find a new dream. I want to watch it again already. I'm going to revert back to my childhood. Flynn is great. Flynn Rider, Eugene, because she brings out the best in him. She kind of allows him to take off this like pretense of being a tough guy, a thief, and reveals the good underneath. Amazing. Love it. I was right. Okay. That movie deserves all the flowers. My heart and love goes out to anyone who has or does or is currently experiencing any sort of abuse in their life. And I hope that you know that it's not too late to ask for help and to seek refuge. But I also understand that can be extremely hard. So that's why I love movies like this, because this gave someone the courage to start thinking about leaving home or calling the police, It's good for kids. It's like a way for storytellers to reach kids who might be otherwise unreachable. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about. Okay, I'm only at 35 minutes. All right, that's not so bad. The only other thing I want to talk about is something that I've been thinking about this week. I have this horrible habit of starting things and not finishing them. And it bothers me. It bothers me often how many plates I start spinning and then they just suddenly they crash to the ground. And I'm like, I forgot that was even there. So I had this thought, what would happen if I finished everything I ever started? What would that be like? And I started making a list. Actually, I need to add something onto this. Final Fantasy Rebirth. Yep. I still haven't finished that. What would it be like if I went down the list and within my power finished everything that I ever started, no matter how long ago it happened? And I think my thoughts are still forming about this, so I don't know how long I'll talk about this. But it made me think a little bit about just how I go through life. And I'm just like a chronic hobby collector. And in some ways it's good, in some ways it's bad. It's exciting. It's exciting and it's challenging to learn new things all the time. But it's also, it feels good and it feels fun and thrilling to start things. But it can be a lot harder to follow through. And it doesn't feel good to not finish anything. And I think it used to be I finished most things and I didn't finish everything. Now it's like I feel like I have way too many plates spinning, and the output of all of the different things I'm doing has slowed or stopped. Yeah. It's hard. Like I was thinking about, what is it that I'm seeking when I'm starting something new? Is it excitement? Is it like just curiosity? Is that a bad thing? Is it a bad when it's maybe not restrained? Do I need to restrain myself more and not like resist games or interests in favor of finishing things that I started? And if that's the case, would I be happy when I finished the things that I started, even if I'm not like as into them as I used to be, What am I doing? Because there's also the aspect that life is short and unpredictable. And I don't have time. I don't have the life force to finish everything. And I don't know how long I'm going to live. I know for certain that if I died today, it wouldn't bother me that I started a lot of things I didn't finish. Like, it's not going to upset me. If I die today, I'm not going to be sad that I didn't finish a New York Comic Con vlog that had a bunch of friends in it. I wouldn't be sad that I didn't finish Final Fantasy Rebirth. But I'm not dead. I'm alive. And I don't like the feeling. And I think I want my audience, especially with content. This isn't just about content, but most of them are. I want my audience to be able to trust me. To follow through at least most of the time, if it's in my power to follow through. Like this podcast, we took a long unannounced break, and I really hated that we did that. I think it worked out for the best, but I wish it hadn't happened at all. I wish we would have stayed strong. I also I wish that we were outputting short form content, because I think the podcast would grow much quicker. And I don't want to be someone who just kind of comes and goes. I want to be around. And this, I hope this doesn't sound demeaning or anything like that. I apologize if it does. But I know that a lot of people's attachment to me is like a comfort. I'm a comfort creator. That's what a lot of people say. And like, how comforting am I if I'm not dependable? It's a tough balance to strike, I think. So I'm going to keep thinking about this. And I think it would actually be super fun to just go down the list in chronological order of all the things I ever started and didn't follow through on. And mark, number 1, can I finish this? Is this even within my power? And if it is, do I want to? Will I feel better? Will it be beneficial to my career? Like, there's one on here, Genshin build in TinyGlade. I started building a miniature Mondstadt model in TinyGlade. And I only posted 2 shorts of it. And they popped off. They did so well. And then I haven't touched it in months. But like, I know that video would do well. And if I finished it, I even started writing a script for it. And because I'm not really playing Genshin right now, it would be an awesome like tribute to the game and tribute to the community. And kind of like I love Genshin, but I've moved on a bit. Like, I still think I'll be back for Shosnaya, but at least right now, I think the sentiment would be more like, no matter what my relationship is with the game, I will always love it and I will always cherish it. And my a tiny glade build would be a great way to deliver that message. So that one is 100% worth finishing. But then there's like, on here, there's the Crown Channel Genshin comedy show video. I posted a video. It was one of my first like real IRL. Let me find it. Dish Genshin comedy show. Yeah, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, 400,000 views. Actually, was it only 3? I feel like it's closer to 4. December 24th, 2021. Is that not 4 years ago? Oh, no, that's 3. So I guess it's not as long as I thought. But it was super cool. And I only really posted the precursor video. I never actually posted the vlog of me being on the show, or like the cosplay that they had me do. And there's other stuff, but like, would people want to see that? I don't know. And if you've seen the video, you probably, I don't need to say it, but it might be a little bit controversial for me to post. It's still like really good content. I think it would be. It could be like a unvaulted throwback. But then the question is, do I even have the footage for it? I'd actually have to look. So yeah, I think it would be good to either by completing them or by marking them off as I'm letting this one go, to get some closure on these things that I haven't, that I set out to do and I didn't do. And I think it would be good. I think it would be a good discipline behavior or exercise maybe to check off some of these things in my long list of unfinished tasks that exist in my mind. Small things, big things. I have Conquest gift unboxing. I have the last Vlogmas. Oh, I did that one. I did that one. Oh, sorry. I scared Asher. Sorry, bud. Sorry, I didn't mean to scream. I got excited. I did that one. Vlogmas final. Done. We're starting already. Got a pink box on there. Kingdom Hearts 1. Finishing Kingdom Hearts 1 uploads on the VOD channel. I'm almost done with that. NYC vlog. Yeah, I think I could do that. I have footage from a gardening video that I haven't published. Should I finish that? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think I am just a lover, and that means that I get easily enticed by different hobbies and interests and games. So, but I think I need to rein it in. I need to rein it in 2 ways. Number one, don't start everything that piques my interest, and I did do that. I made a decision in that vein. Yesterday, I chose to not start Hello Kitty Island adventure in favor of committing to finish Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy Rebirth. And then on the other side, I need to have more discipline to finish and follow through things that I start, even if it takes more labor than is like fun, I guess. And I think looking at my channel, I think my favorite videos. Excuse me. I think if you scroll past all of the gotcha videos, which are inevitably at the top of the screen or at the top of my success list, the best videos I think that I've made were ones that were labor intensive. Like the Genshin SMP, Minecraft SMP videos, those were so time consuming because I had very little video editing experience. And then the vlog I did for Anime Expo the first time I went, that one was so much work. And I think it's one of my best videos that I've ever made. So, and the numbers definitely reflect that, even if they don't match up to summons, evil dish summons. It truly was evil, though. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. So that's something that I'm working through, and I hope that that will resonate a bit with some of you too. Because I think that's a universal experience. It's really easy to start projects. It's so hard to finish them. It requires discipline, and it requires foregoing like immediate pleasure for the sake of a final goal. And I want to do that better. And I know that I will just feel better. I'll feel better when I do these things. But at the same time, I don't want to reduce my value down to my productivity, because that is a very bad habit that I have. I don't need to finish everything I start to be a complete person. You don't. Your value is not based on your productivity. You can fight me on that if you want, but you're wrong. I also just want to enjoy the life that I have. And sometimes enjoying the life that I have means investing my time into a hobby and letting it go by the wayside over time. So, yeah. A lot of things to think about. I always just be thinking about stuff. When I be thinking about stuff, crazy. Wish I could just shut my brain off sometimes. There's a character in The Way of Kings, or there's a type of character that they transmute into different forms, and there's one of the forms is called dull form, and it basically means they reduce their mental capacity to like 30% of what it is. And I guess I feel like that might be kind of nice sometimes. That's why people drink. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this week's logging off episode. What's your homework? Same as last week. Severance. The Way of Kings. Trust me, okay? And if you did start reading Way of Kings or watching Severance, please let me know your comments, your thoughts, because I want to hear. I don't have enough people to talk about the show with. I'm trying to convince every person I know to watch Severance, but it's not working very well. Okay, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being captive to me for the last 50 minutes. And I hope you have a wonderful last day of the week. Well, last 2 days, Thursday, Friday. Oh, I did say there was going to be an announcement last week. Sorry, it got delayed. It was supposed to be on my birthday, but I don't know. It got delayed. It's coming. Most of you can probably guess what it is by now, but I don't think I can legally say what it is until they do. So my lips are sealed. And this is me, your resident companion dish, logging off. Bye-bye. Be well. Be well. Go drink some water.